Can you say pumpkin, pumpkin, pumpkin 3 times and get tired of it? Not I. It's always a great idea to have an easy pumpkin dessert recipe on hand, right? So join me on Cooking Made Easy with June to make some easy pumpkin squares. That's coming up this week on Cooking Made Easy with June, brought to you by Macy's, the happy shopping store in Spanish Fork. Hello everyone, welcome to Cooking Made Easy with June, and I am going to make today, it's pumpkin squares. I know there's so many versions, right? I'm gonna be honest with you, I've never made this before. I'm like, well, what can I make that's kind of fall, but it's so yummy, but it actually is a recipe from my friend, oh my gosh, Catherine, what did I forget her first name, but it's Sister White. I'm so excited to have Emily with us.
Hi.
And Emily White and her family. And she's been on the show a couple times. When we first aired like 5 years ago, she made like the most delicious lemon scones, which maybe I'll make some more to make some lemon scones tomorrow. Anyways, ooh, add blueberries. Okay, I'm off tangent. But anyway, so she has this little cookbook that because she made for her friends at church. She runs this beautiful choir at church, and I just love being in the choir with her. Anyway, so she compiled all the things that she made for us, and I've never tried the pumpkin square. And on her recipe, she did say she normally likes to avoid cake mix, right? The pre-made cake mix, but she says this is really good. So I'm excited to try for the first time with you. But it is easy. You just take some yellow cake mix, and I actually have this super moist from Macy's, and my scissors I'll just use my nails. Okay. And super moist yellow cake mix. So any yellow cake mix would be okay. You just dump it in here. Okay, so nothing wrong with pre-made if you doctor it up right. And then we have our soft butter. Now, soft butter. Sometimes luckily I remember to leave this out to get softened at room temperature, but most of the time I don't have it ready. And most of the time I say, oh, I'll just stick it in the microwave for a few seconds, and then I overdo it and then it melts. So in this case, it's perfect. Another option to soften your butter quickly is to use your grater, and you take the butter from the fridge and grate it. It'll naturally soften it, and it's already there to go. Okay, so that's what I usually end up doing. So anyway, so I have a pastry cutter. And my kids always are like, what is a pastry cutter? A lot of people don't have it anymore. I don't know if people use it that much anymore because people tend to not bake as often, but I love having the pastry cutter. Another option for pastry cutters are to use a fork. Basically what it is that it cuts your shortening or your butter into your dry ingredients so that you have a crumbly texture. So that's what it's for. But again, like I said, you can use a fork. But here I have a pastry cutter, so it's really fun. I like to have what I love about these easy recipes is that you can make it with your little children, like, even like a 3-year-old. You can say, hey, my little granddaughter is Hazel. And I already told her, I'm gonna have Hazel on my cooking show one day when she is old enough, and I think she might be in a couple years. But anyway, so you can just say, here, Hazel, you do the pastry cutter, right? So many things you can involve your family doing with you. So I'm almost ready. This is just like that. So it looks like a crumbly, almost like a pie crust. Okay. Emily White is her name. Gosh, how did I forget? Emily, I'm so sorry. I hope you don't watch this episode with me. Yes, Emily White. A very talented woman. And you'll have to go look up on for the lemon scones recipe through Cooking Made Easy with June. I love that recipe. And I just had a thought that it would be so delicious if you made that and add some blueberries, blueberry lemon scones. Oh, dying to make some now. Okay, looks like we're ready. So crumbling it up so you can get all the butter into that cake mix. Okay. Okay, so then now I'm going to just put some on the bottom of the pan. Now, her recipe actually calls for a 9x9, but I don't have a 9x9 pan. I don't know why. It's not very common, I don't think. Let me toss it again. So, but anyway, so I opted for just this smaller, the foil one is a little bit smaller to me than the regular, you know how the kind that it's already like not foil one, it seems bigger to me. But this is actually a 9x12.2 or something, so we'll see how it goes. I think it'll be fine. It'll be awesome. So half of the box, so half of this, you're gonna put half in the bottom. And when I've done it before, when I did it earlier to make a head, it actually comes to about covering it into a decent layer of it, right? Like something like this. Just so you can cover it to about to cover it to, you know, not too thin, but just like maybe a 1/4 inch, I would say. And you don't even need to pack it down. Okay, so but I like to lightly pat it so it'll stay in place. Okay, so I do that, I set it aside, and oh my goodness, I'm supposed to have pumpkin. How do we have a pumpkin? Let me go grab it real quick. So I've got my pumpkin, and so it's about, so the recipe calls for 16 ounces of pumpkin, but guess what? The pumpkins nowadays, I don't know why they did it, or maybe they used to have 16-ounce pumpkin cans, but now they're like 15 ounces. So there is a conspiracy there that I think you need to look into, because I'm like, all these recipes are like saying 16 ounces and you can only find 15 ounces. So, but I just had a larger can and I just kind of measured it out. So it's approximately, oh gosh, it's been in the fridge. So it's approximately 15 ounces of, about 15 ounces, 16 ounces of pumpkin. So you do that, and then this is what makes it taste good, I think. I'm excited to try it. Is there sweetened condensed milk? Sweetened condensed. Long name. Sweetened is, so it's sweetened and it's condensed to make it look like this. Every time I use sweetened condensed milk, it reminds me of my first days in Thailand. My mom had just gotten remarried to my American dad. I think I was 7. And they started to introduce me to American food. And one of the things, and we have this in Thailand also, not just in America, but sweetened condensed milk. And my favorite thing was they have white bread, which I had never had before, and you just put sweetened condensed milk on it, and I loved it, just like that. It's so good to me. Another favorite I love in Thailand is I remember we got introduced to soda, and oh my gosh, for some reason that 7-Up at the time, it's 7-Up in Thailand, is delicious. So those are my favorite treats in Thailand when I first got introduced, when my mom married an American Air Force man, and they had 7-Up, and they had sweetened condensed milk on white bread. Because, you know, we don't really eat a lot of bread in Thailand. It's just a luxury. Okay, and then I'm going to add my cinnamon. I believe there's 2 teaspoons of cinnamon. Let me look up in my phone real quick. So 2 teaspoons of cinnamon. Here it is. 2 teaspoons of cinnamon, and then we have half nutmeg, half cloves, 1/4 cloves. Okay. So 2 teaspoons of cinnamon, 1, 2, I'm generous with my cinnamon. I love cinnamon, so even when I make cinnamon rolls, just dump it in there. But the cloves, 1/4 teaspoon, we don't want to overdo that. Half nutmeg and half ginger. So 1/4 teaspoon of cloves, and then we have half ginger and half nutmeg. So 2 of these makes a half ginger, and then we have nutmeg, almost like a pumpkin pie, I suppose, pumpkin pie squares. We just love these fall flavors, don't we? Okay, so that's it. Let me see here, ginger, yep. Gosh, you guys, sweetened condensed milk, how easy is this? So I do have some fond memories of first time things that I eaten from America. Okay, so we have this. So we have this and we have this. The crust on the bottom. I'll move this over a little bit. So we just pour this onto. Now it doesn't really pour, so you kind of have to make sure you don't make one big giant clump onto the middle or something like that. Which I guess if you did that, you could spread it out. But the crust is actually kind of fragile, right? Because it's just a crumbly thing. So you kind of spread it out a little bit as you pour it in there. So kind of evenly. And then make sure you use a spatula. There's so much wasted if you do not use a spatula on this, on cake batter or on this type of like semi-thick batter. Okay, because that's a lot of wasted stuff if you don't. Okay, so I have that. So let's go ahead and spread. I find that when you're spreading something, if you want to be as even as possible, you're going to go crosswise, and then you go the other way wise. And it should really give you a pretty even, I see a little bit, an even thing going on, you know what I mean? So, okay. Now, that's it. And then we have this, the topping, which is the other half of the cake mix, the crumbled cake mix, and you're going to put about a quarter cup. That's about a quarter cup right there. If you don't love nuts, you can leave it out. And where's my, okay, I'll just use my whisk here. Okay. And then we'll just toss it on the top of your thing, your pumpkin mix. So kind of try to spread the nuts over around a little bit. I mean, it doesn't have to be perfect, but you want to share the love, right? Sometimes I forget that I don't put as much on the corners as I should. Okay, something like that. And then you melt a quarter cup of butter and drizzle. I'm gonna use my spoon to stir it a little bit. Because when you melt butter, you know how that cream is on the bottom? So I'm gonna stir that up a little bit because I did this ahead. And just do a little bit of a drizzle. And again, not because you don't want to have just one area, so just take a few seconds, just additional seconds to put kind of evenly all this butter. I should have grabbed a spatula, but that's okay. Okay, and that's it. So I'm going to put this, because I use a foil pan, it's a little bit flimsy, right? So I'm actually putting into my cookie sheet like this, and on 350 degrees, you're going to preheat your oven, right? And put that into the oven. And set the timer for 45, well, it says 35 to 45 minutes, but my oven kind of bakes a little bit light, so I'm gonna do 45 minutes, 30 to 45 minutes. So I'm gonna do 45, and I'll just check it at 350. And I already have some already baked. With the magic of, they call it the magic of TV, whatever. But gonna pull it out. It's been baked and it's cooled some. I think this is the only way that it's going to allow it to set a little bit. Okay, so let me go grab and close this oven. Oh, you guys, did I forget eggs?
Yeah, I was wondering about
My other one, I forgot eggs, but you know what? Let me see. Maybe it didn't call for eggs. I'm sure it did. I forgot 2 eggs in it. I forgot 2 eggs in my rice. It's okay. I'm gonna take it out of the oven. But we have a finished product, so don't worry. I'm gonna go back. It's gonna be an interesting recipe because we're gonna have crumblies on it. Goodness gracious. So if you do that, if you got the eggs, I would take it out, and you know what, that would be good? Like I'm gonna mix the thing with the eggs, and maybe I'll just make my own crumbly on top. Oh, okay, too bad I'm not gonna really show you what happens, all right? Okay, no worries. So this does have eggs in it. Okay, let me grab my spatula real quick. Sorry, guys. Oh my goodness. Oh, the eggs, they go into the pumpkin mixture. So I should have put eggs into the pumpkin along with the sweetened condensed milk and my spices. So sorry about that. So you need to do that. So let's go ahead and cut this up. Let's cut a piece out. Piece out. Well, at least I can salvage it, because in reality, we had one show that we used for our thing, we used salt instead of sugar. Can't fix that one. Anyways. All right, so this, I'm gonna do the centerpiece. Oops, I'm gonna do a centerpiece for the plate. So I think that you could probably put this in the fridge because it's still warm, because I baked it just a little bit earlier. So maybe we'll just make that, should we put several pieces? Let's do that. Let's put a few pieces for show here. Put one more. And I'm going to put some cinnamon, oh, that's a lot of cinnamon. Make it higher. That's gonna still be good though. Here, put some cinnamon there. I'll put some nuts. This has butter in it. I'm gonna, just for the picture, right, you guys? I've gotta have some interesting things there. And I'll put my cinnamon right here. Okay, I'm gonna get a fork and try this stuff with the egg. I'm gonna eat my little corner here with a pumpkin. Mm-hmm. It is yummy. Ooh, I think if you pull it down, it's the first time I'm trying it. This is my little spot corner. Okay. Very delicious. It's not as dense as it, oh, it's like a pumpkin pie. Has more spices in it. And so it's actually a little bit lighter than a pumpkin pie. I love the topping. I love the cake topping is not too heavy. So it's really a good, quick and easy recipe that you can make if someone asks you to bring a different side, you know, a dessert for a holiday. So thank you, you guys, for coming, and go try this recipe. It's really good. Thank you, and happy cooking.